Hello world and welcome to my world. Dusty Jane, welcome first in Salem. How is Sunday going for everyone? And Isa is with us, welcome. Thanks so much for joining and thanks so much for telling me about Darius. Actually, Darius is not any longer. He was, I think last week, he was in Dubrovnik. I had absolutely no idea. I just plainly don't have time to watch the scopes. And then so I'm behind in the loop. How are you? Great to see you. Great to see you connected now for a moment. And so yeah, that's there. So now I'm just going to be tuning in. Norman, welcome. Thanks for joining. Yesterday I had an amazing day. I was climbing. I know, yeah, we missed each other, but anyway, next time I'm sure, because I mean he's an expert in the Roman history, so it would be such an awesome meeting and also learning from, and wonderful. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing, everyone. Please share and also connect. There is the button. So, and also let me know where you are watching from and if you are tuning in the first time, so that I can introduce myself, and then we can launch into this exploring of the 20th century. Actually, oh yeah, I just remembered I need to put the microphones on so that you have a little bit better. With piano, it's always difficult to get the proper position of the microphones because I need to catch both registers somehow in a synchronicity. So let me just do that for a moment. Just remember that I totally forgot to do that before. So I have a very strange setup in here in terms of the microphones, but anyway, it's working. And it's the trusty hair clip that I'm actually attaching it to. Okay, and then on the easel, I think this is probably the best one. And then we're just going to get this attached in here. Okay, that's it. If I miss some comments, let's see. Okay, the mic is, oh, great, excellent. So now, I think now it should be even better because it's picking up from that side. So slow time, welcome. Okay, so now let's see. We are going to be working on Barber's Sonata. So I didn't touch the piano yesterday because of the 15 kilometers uphill. We went and climbed up to actually 1,000 meters above altitude, above the sea altitude. We started at the sea level and ended up in the mountains and surrounded by some area covered in snow. So that was absolutely wonderful. So anyway, let's start now. And by the way, this piano piece is inspiring and connected directly to that piece. Sorry, I can't adjust. This is so weird. Yeah, this piece of painting and this surrounding. You know, it's like a window, because I think that every painting and every piece of music is actually a window to another reality. Yes. So you see this edginess. That's exactly those area. There is a bit of like rectangular, even though maybe it's not visible at this distance. But that's what we are working on. That's what inspired it. So. Back a little bit. We need to explore this in further depth. Oh, Franklin also joining us from Portugal. Welcome. Thank you so much. You see it, excellent. Yeah. So yeah, in here, this is a very abstract piece. It's not so easy to listen to. It's like perceiving a bit of, I don't know, some Picasso or maybe Salvador Dali. Maybe Salvador Dali actually more in context of this. By the way, last night I was having a dream and I saw a monk scream. You know that painting where he's holding the head. And well, how are you? Thanks for joining. And it's actually a creature is screaming, and this is actually, I was reading afterwards about this piece, and he said that that was the nature screaming after all of the industrialization that was going on. So anyway, let's go back to this. Serialism now at that edge. Okay, so now let's go a bit more towards the weightlessness part of this. Adele. No, this is a mid-20th century classical music. We are in here exploring the imagination, the depth of imagination, and Adele, it's more about the entertainment, it's more about infusing the emotions. In here, it's all about the imagination, about exploring this invisible world. So this is a weightlessness, that like those red, you see those red creatures that are floating around in the blue, the metallic blue background? That's exactly what that's exactly what we are describing in here in the musical sense. So it's a little bit analytical in here. Somebody's angry in here. It's like a fog. Now this serialism part is a little bit difficult. I actually need to also write down, yeah, in here is kind of like anger or some kind of power going on at this part. to listen to play this. Ah, thank you so much. Yes, this is Sona, welcome. Thanks so much for the super heart. And also Para Madrid, thanks for inviting followers, everyone. Please invite and also share. It's beautiful. Actually, it's the 17th of March, and that means the St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for inviting. And so that's the moment when the nature is waking up. Who wrote what? Who wrote? Yes, so that's the Barber, Samuel Barber. It's an American composer who is actually, and this is kind of in the exactly the same time as Prokofiev, which remember. This is purely about power, about the energy, you know, about conquering, about Genghis Khan and all of that. That's Prokofiev. So that's purely war. And then at exactly the same time, on the other side of the planet in America, sorry, I was kind of disconnected, thought about something different. Anyway, so on the other side of the planet in America, Samuel Barber is exploring what's going on with the war, what's going on with all the idealism, all the turmoil of Europe, that's kind of trying to figure out the way forward. And the result is this. Wrong note. And then it's disappearing into a complete, from this kind of a power, that painting, from this kind of a rectangular, almost cubistic like forms, dramatic, exactly, you're not your cup, exactly. So it's very, you know, from these cubistic forms of questioning the time and space and so many things, it's going into the weightlessness. And then analytical. Of exploration of idealism, what's going on with humanity, because I think actually art is as much as it may be detached from the world of reality, and it certainly is detached from the world of problem solvings like the computer world and so on and so forth, it's very much attached to the humanity. Thank you so much, Peter Unplugged. Great to see you. Thanks so much. I've seen a few of your scopes as well. This one is very tough to play. Actually, it's one of the most complex pieces in the 20s, but I love 20s. My specializing is Baroque, a famous Goldberg variation, which I'm also working on. This, by the way, went into space. This was an example of human intelligence that they sent into this, is it a probe that they sent into space in case there is some kind of, this is a stage piano, Yamaha. So I can get it sometimes on the balcony and we can share together the views and the experiences. So I'm specializing in Bach, and I also specialize I tend to play a lot of the 20th century composers, and now I'm preparing for the next piano recordings, and so I'm actually open sourcing. I am plugging you into the whole process. So that we can actually explore together what I'm exploring, and because the interpretation is the least about the practicing about the notes, it's much more. Max Richter, there is Max Reger. I'm thinking Reger because there is Sviatoslav Richter who was playing. I'm not familiar with Max Richter, a composer. Sviatoslav Richter is the one that I admire in relation to this piece. Aha, okay, I have to check that. Seismology, what do you mean about the seismology? Because that also could sometimes be connected as well. What was I talking about? Anyway, yeah, I was talking about the Baroque and then about the 20th century. So anyway, to go back to Baroque, to the Barber, Samuel Barber, 1949, I believe is when he wrote this piece. So it's going into this weightlessness. Are in between the left hand and the right hand, and so that's also, you know, one of very important aspects. This is like okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do about this. I'm going to be imagining in here some kind of a spaceship, because the piece itself is as if it was written in some kind of state of meditation. If we explore, for instance, now. Exactly what this is actually. Richter's Adagio for strings. You love that one. Okay. Cacophony, it is exactly. This is atonal. Yes, there is, and actually there is a serialism in here as well. And so after it goes through this, I think he's purposefully using some aspects, the tonality, and within the tonal system is using Nemanja. Welcome. Thanks for sharing. Everyone, please share and connect. And so in this part you struggle with the atonal. Yeah, I know, actually I struggle as well, but it's a question of adopting. Because I think when we have, like in here, for instance, just let's hear this part, which is purely human. And then it's flying away again, it's weightless. Second is difficult. Have to practice this now. I need to. You see, even my brain wouldn't accept this because this is just 4 times repetition in a different section. Had to hear heart here being dry. Okay, yeah. So, but I just had the idea. What this is about is the conversation between Charlie and Erling. Didi needs to reestablish the perfect rhythms. Thank you. I know it was off. I know it was. And this is an interesting thing as well. With the atonal music, you pick up that the note is off much more often, much easier than with tonal, which is strange. Or at least maybe it's just in my case. I see this tone. Oh no. My brain is not following the rules here. stop this eventually. You're composing my own sometimes. And I wish no, it's not about requesting here. Someone told me a tonal is very mathematical. Yes, so this is a purely mathematical. I even wrote down in here calculate. You see that? Following rules here. So it's, you know, this section of notes is usually it's a certain number and they are exactly the same difference. You see? From each other, and then exactly the same thing but from a different. And then I have exactly the same thing in the left hand. And the left hand, the tone in here. And this is like a theme in here. And then it goes in the right hand. It's completely stretching the imagination. I think it's not so easy to listen to when you're coming out of the tonally composed music. So anyway. That a bit more, but I just wanted to go back a little bit on the conceptual. So from here, this is a conversation between Charlie and Erling. I just realized it right now. I have to go write it down. Conversation, Charlie and Erling. And if any of you sometimes checked my website ideastrix.com, you would see that I get a lot of those conversations between the two imaginary characters, and they need a little more there should be a great keys as well. That's a great point as well. You will become the most famous composer from a lot of people will be jealous. Yeah, and now I don't believe in competition, I don't believe in jealousy, and I don't believe in most or least. I think that we all can contribute. It's just we are at a time and it's decentralizing. It's killing the competition. Spot a goldfish these days? No. What goldfish? By the way, Nemanja, yesterday I climbed 15 kilometers into from 0 to 1,000 altitude. I think I got, did you sing? No, I don't sing. Yeah, so, okay, so now. But I'm going to just continue because this is going to be too much holding on to the same thing, which is sometimes good. How many steps did the health app measured? I actually shared it. I don't know about the steps, but I know kilometers is about 15 to sing this song. Do you know how to play learn? What do you mean? I want to visit Milk Planet where the hazelnut almond chocolate, maybe it exists, who knows, you know? Maybe our earth, like the soil is brown, and maybe it's edible by some other creatures out there that are positioned, that are based on a different composition of elements, right? Super. Because we are based on the carbon, right? Carbon-based life forms, and then all of these kind of cells and eukaryotes. It was a long hike. I know, it was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to be sharing chocolate-friendly one. I know, a chocolate-friendly one, exactly. Thank you. But we have to also continue with barber because it's getting a little bit more exciting. It's a little bit more involved. So I think the first part is about Charlie and Erling exploring all of this, you know, all of these aspects relating to the weightlessness, to the, you know, to the newness. How can I say that? Or futuristic aspects. Anyway, and then in here, we hear the siren. Dogmatical. And then again a human part. Maybe this is the observation of the aliens. Rostropovich walking around. You would love to. Rostropovich is a famous cellist. I admire a lot. Thank you. If they don't bring us something tasty to eat, they don't need to come anyway. We are so obsessed with food. Yesterday, the people that I was talking to, actually it was going mostly vegetarians, but also, you know, thinking about this aspect of food and how much is in our mind that when we are eating the food that actually we perceive as nurturing, and sometimes I don't know, sometimes we think that we are always hungry. I think it's a little bit more than what we are really, but maybe that's some kind of remnant, maybe genetical from the time path. You love fish, I love fish as well. I'm totally into the fish part. So now back to the siren. I know this is like a Terrence Malick. Represents. What do you think this represents? Actually, I'm struggling. From here is definitely... That's a siren. That's a siren that's being explored from somewhere outside. Talk to subscribe and play. Can you play for Alice? For Alice? I don't know for Alice. Where is I don't know about that. Yeah, but in here we are in the imaginatorium of Samuel Barber's piano sonata, and we are trying to decipher beside this siren what else could it mean? What's this associating you with? For me, this is like emerging with the technology. This is a genetical modification as well. The music is making me thinking a lot about food. Never, if you start with the food, this is going to turn into a food music. I like it, in fact. I know it's a question, that's a classical music, but 20th century, and it was a very much avant-garde, considered the cacophony, at least, but it's not as horrible as this, or the, oh God, I totally forgot, where is the Prokofiev? I just had the blackout. No, I totally forgot it's just, I just had the disconnect in my mind. Hold on a second with that. Oh no, okay. I managed not to break all the scores. Okay. I just had the block in my mind because I didn't touch the happening here. I didn't touch the third movement of the seventh of the War Sonata, so this is more mechanical, it's more warm, I think, because this is actually coming from Russia, so it's a different perspective into things, but it was definitely considered a cacophony. Mythology and classical music combined in this sonata. Yeah, well, in this sonata definitely, because there's everything. The Barber Sonata is more like Terence Malick. It's more it's more like live streaming. It's more like perceiving the reality. It's more dogmatic, it's more questioning. Get a rhythm, get into the rhythm, definitely. Polished, so got out of the way a little bit with these bass rules, a little bit in here. Ooh, okay, thank you. So it's also, oh, Mark in here. Welcome, thanks so much, Mark. And a big shout out to both Mark and Sonam and Nemanja, who are actually sharing with the world the experiences. So let me just go. What am I going in here? So we have in here a pure machine, and we have an individual who is rebelling against the machine of industrial, and then we have a folk song, something that's excuse me, something that's kind of getting us back into the times past, maybe into the times of imagination, mythological, something a little quieter. Why would you like a quieter? Pavlos, welcome, thank you so much for joining. I love it to try to play guitar, really hard one try, exactly. So here. It's very edgy. It's a bit like also cubistic. Because I've been making a very strange open. Usually gets closed in here depending on the context what's to be open, but how about something yeah, okay. So I'm also getting a bit sore, a little bit. This hand has been I'm using Chopin to relax. Relaxation a lot. A stand up, was that? I don't know what that is. So now back to the edginess, back to the, yeah, that is a Chopin, Chopin Etude number 4, opus 10. It helps me relax. Which was always a bit shaky, a bit asynchronous. So now let's go back to Prokofiev. Let's jump back into it because it's also a time traveling exercise. So this has a very strange 2 and then 3 and then 4 in terms of the rhythm. So developed. Glad to play with you. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's what we can also do. Play together, because that's the whole point. Music so intense it is, yes, because it's explosive, intense, the mid-20th century. On a guitar, I just wrestled a yogurt machine. Okay, so actually talking, I was building this purely from the first hiccuping notes. It's still kind of hiccupy because it's midway towards the stage when it's going to be able to be recorded, but it's quite. This is like a scream, awakening of an individual against the machine. Thank you. It's also wonderful. Yeah, hello to everyone. Which I actually interpret as some kind of alien energy, something very much unlike the most of the other part. So it's very difficult because it's almost very in the midst of this kind of almost folk-like, almost backwards looking, almost past looking. This properly, because I think maybe I can compare it. So that's how this should be also. That's it. Thank you, but it's just progress. Good, great. Thank you. Seals, Seals, great to see you have changed the username. Thank you so much for joining me, and hope I didn't wake up. It wasn't a wake-up call this time, especially on a Sunday of a day of rest traditionally, but who knows what will happen in this future years or decades when we are merging with the technology completely, and when there is maybe passionate work is the rest in itself. We have had it at the end of the season, but the fingers have had it at the... What do you mean? What season? What season are you talking about? Instead of the seasons and in relation to finger, I can't connect that, sorry. So let's just go back to, no. It's like a play. So that's exactly the rhythm. And then it's 4. Towards the end, which I haven't even read through sufficiently. I need to now go back to Barber. Now I'm quite happier that we actually covered a little bit of this one. Just a second, I need to somehow get this figured out. No. Okay. I need to figure something out with these sheets, and they shouldn't be falling all the time like that. Good morning, Wendell. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. Hands guys. Tired. You mean in that sense? Turn on my MIDI. But the fingers have... okay. You mean hands tired? Not at all, actually. I was just playing a bit of Chopin etude. If I get tired, it's more in the wrist because I'm not using the muscles properly. But as they say, with the piano, it's the easiest instrument to play, but it's the most complex mentally to actually play in terms of further, because it doesn't really take much. You can even you don't actually, most of everything can be learned online nowadays, and you can definitely be completely self-taught. For instance, Sviatoslav Richter, who is one of the famous, again, late 20th century pianists, he was actually he was totally self-taught, and he started having lesson with Nyhausen. It was when he was in his 30s, imagine, and they didn't have anything to contribute to him because he was so brilliant. He actually learned everything by himself, just by listening, using technology for good. So now let's go back to the siren. Russia, hello, welcome. Yeah, I think Russia, depending on which part of Russia, is a different time zone. I'm in a Central European zone. I'm in Europe now. Going back to the frame, to the doors. shift. The old system is being dissolved and the new system is taking place. Resistance to the new. Going downhill. Okay, now it's going completely into a different direction, but before we explore that, cooking gifted. Thank you for answering. Yeah, no problem. If I sometimes miss a question or a comment, just please alert me. Make more comments. I'll definitely, because there is this scroll back option, so it's quite possible for me. Now let's get elevation going down into the subconscious. That's what I wrote last time, because as I'm building this, we are building this together, and then I always invite you as well to share in comments, what do you see when you are listening to this. Hold on a second, one more time. Mysterious. Essentially, it says misterioso. Misterioso. I need to write down this is the dissolving of the old. Dissolving of the old. Dissolving of the old. Paradigm shift, definitely a new paradigm shift. Because the second half of the 20th century actually made this announcement, made these changes towards the, kind of like a hallmark as to what's going to happen afterwards, even though, that actually internet changed us into the greatest degree. But it's also kind of dissolving. Let's see just how far is it dissolving. By Monk. Scream by Monk. It's quite interesting. I don't know if sometimes it happens at some of you, but actually when I'm perceiving some kind of a concept. Thanks so much for very glad for sharing. Everyone, please share and also connect. Hold on a second, did I put and yeah. So this is quite interesting that I have an image of a painting sometimes when I want to describe some kind of impression. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is very difficult to listen to because this is a barber. It's full of atonal. It's even has serialism. It's very progressive at the time. So anyway, kudos to everybody staying for this long. So anyway. As well in here, it's as if, you know, the scream happened and then a detachment. Detachment. These are just bits and pieces, but later this is going to be the whole story. The same for the painting as well. Philosophy. I also wrote somewhere in here some kind of like existentialism. You see that sense of reflexes. Going to feel exactly. I see a dimly lit fine house of mirrors and vases. Ooh, that's interesting. You know that I had actually that vision. Dimmed house of light. I actually had that vision at the very beginning. I actually had that vision. This is notoriously difficult to memorize actually because of so much. Anyway, let's continue now a little bit. I love that dimly lit mazes of houses because that's also the civilization. Actually, you summarize the civilization. What's the civilization? It's the points of light, both in terms of the mind but it's mostly technology, isn't it? It's us with the technology and how we merge with the technology. So there is always this question: are we merging humanely with technology, or are we turning into a Frankenstein, the monsters? Make great horror music, absolutely horror, but also delight music. I think that because so far it was quite horrific, but now we're going to get into this humane part, which I think is more than delight. It's really, you know, even if this could be Inferno of Dante, we actually can completely skip the purgatory and go into heaven in the second one. Because it's always exactly, and that's the art actually, is to make things alive, even that may not be perceived as an animate matter. You animize the non-animate. That's actually what art is. So now... Again, that's serialism, a bit melancholy in here. And then, listen to this. know how it's quite interesting how he's contrasting from this. But by the way, just to go back to the dimly lit houses and the mazes, reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, horror movie director. Exactly. Somewhere more harmonic. Absolutely. Now we are going into the more harmonic, and this is almost like the harmony of like, it's very profound, it's very human in here. Because what's the human? Is the to me, human is the equivalent to altruism, to somebody who is actually caring for the surroundings, not just selfishly going towards, you know, this kind of goal of whatever the definition of success may be. But to reach some kind of a success, to go into this other world, you have to be inhuman as well. You have to be. My heart take. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that. Exactly, because this music is about taking a flight, detaching from the planet, detaching from the mundane, detaching from the entertaining, and getting into something much more deep. So, this is a definition of human here. I have to write it down. Defining the human, the mild, not positive just for the sake of positivity, but noble. This is about noble as well. You know, noble is one of the features that we don't feel. So what that melody means, yes, to me, absolutely. But also everyone, please share with me, how do you perceive? How would you associate this? This is some kind of a deep idealism, a firmament, maybe of Sartre, I don't know. It's even beyond challenges. I'm just going to be exploring humanism, bringing harmony exactly to dissonance, absorbing the dissonance and putting it together. Invest in emotion in the melodies. Bringing dissonances together in a way that they make sense toward progress. Because we are not doing anything. Excuse me. If we just ignore the bad, if we just ignore something that's purely identified as black, nothing is ever 100% black. You know, there is a yin-yang model in everything. So if we are to progress, we have to embrace that. There is always something in it anyway. So now to just go back. which I haven't read sufficiently, so it's going to be a lot of mistakes. I have to actually read through this, and it's also changing the tonality, so yeah, that's the only way. But exactly the same, this kind of dress. And then, weightlessness. Is this? Oh no, I was just, this is the wrong notes. Okay, 32, 33 is the next one here. Different notes, even though it's exactly the same. Okay, I have to actually work on this now in more detail because this is not too difficult, but because it's in a different tonality. Anyway, I'm getting blurry eyes, so I need to finish this. I think I've been going live at least for an hour or something, and that's anyway how much I practice. There are lots of strength in your music, but also some of it's very subtle. Absolutely, exactly. You know, that's the whole point. Cecilia, thank you so much for sharing. Very powerful. Davy, definitely. Finding her front door open, walking in and having to look in every room. I love that impression as well. Yeah, there is something of that. There is this eeriness of the movies in the, I think, late 90s. Emotion, the melody, exactly. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and also especially sticking for so long with this kind of piece. I don't know, maybe I should play a little bit of Bach as well now to finish it off. For Bach, but I feel much better now with this piece because last time when I was playing it, it was almost like it was almost like a reflection of my dreams, and I think I may have dreamt it. So you know, my dreams are sometimes being conducting my reality. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's now Baroque. That's much more easy to listen to, and also the Chopin. On this as a side project, let's put it that way, because we all love the side projects, but the main project is this sonata, Prokofiev sonata, this sonata, Barber sonata, and Goldberg variations. Those are the main things that are very heavy. That's it for now. I'm definitely going to be finishing this, so I'll see you next time. It was pity that yesterday I couldn't share with you. It was absolutely awesome. If you screen this, sorry, I don't know what that is. What does it mean? I don't understand that language. Absolutely. Thank you so much, and so are you and everyone else in here. And also dreamscapes hanging on the wall. Yes, as well. Some of the dreamscapes as well are in there. Killing, thank you. So except for the eagle. Eagle is from in between the worlds. Eagle is my totem animal. I always see the eagles when I'm in the nature. Yesterday also, when I was climbing that 1,000 meters in altitude, and that was 15 kilometers. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Pavlos, and everyone else. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Enjoyed every moment. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a pleasure to I'm just open sourcing my practicing and kind of a little bit talking more. So in a way, that's my sense of altruism, how to kind of learn with the world so that the world can learn with me. Maybe tweet that to me, okay? Maybe you could tweet that YouTube channel to me so that I can check as well. So have a great time, everyone. Bye. I'll see you next time. Bye.